Well, hi, all. This is Diane McKeever. That sounded so imposing. My goodness, all of that information. Thank you all for coming today or participating today. This is a new venture for me, and all the experience that I've had. I've never had a blog cast like this where I don't see people. So I'll be talking to myself. I won't be able to hear you laugh, which is actually sad for me, but I'll deal with it, I think. So, Facebook, friend or foe, controlling your Facebook experience. Um, Let me see. There we go. So, you already heard my background. If you're interested in visiting my blog, it's 100 Computer Tips in 100 Days.blogspot.com. And my book is 100 Amazing Computer Tips, $15 on Amazon. So, should you or shouldn't you be on Facebook? Well, of course, it's a very personal decision, isn't it, whether or not you want to spend time on Facebook. But this presentation is really designed for two people. One is the people who are not currently on Facebook and are considering it. And the other is for people who are on Facebook and are frustrated by the experience. So if you're in either of these categories, you're in great place. So why would anybody want to join Facebook? I am so sorry. Don't you know? It's probably some kind of a marketer. Why would anybody join Facebook? Well, it's a multi-layered experience. I think that you'd find that once you're on Facebook, you get great enjoyment from finding out what people are doing who are in your sphere of influence, people that maybe you haven't seen in 20, 30, 40 years. I have reconnected recently with a lot of people who graduated from high school with me. Graduated from elementary school with me. So it's really been kind of a great experience. And it is our dominant source of information. I find it interesting that when I'm on Facebook, it's one of the first places that I get information relative to what's going on in the community. It's a place for engagement and interaction. And most of all, it's not going away. Over 1 billion people a day are using Facebook to reconnect, to connect, as well as to get information. Okay, so of course there's going to be some cons, right? Those are all the pros, the reasons why you might want to join Facebook. But there's a lot of reasons that people do not want to join Facebook. One is that people often think that it just wastes their time. Well, if that's your viewpoint of Facebook, then you need to reconsider how much discipline you have, because you need to spend as much or as little time as you want. Some people look at Facebook once a week. Some people look at it every hour on the hour. So you choose how much time you're going to dedicate to this. It's addictive. Well, it kind of is. I'm finding it to be a little addictive. I am on a lot, but of course, I need to be on, or at least I tell myself I need to be on. I need to be on because I am helping businesses with their Facebook experience and exposure. And so I need to be on checking their progress, posting things for them, and engaging people in it. So I really need to find out what's happening. Privacy concerns. Let's just get that right out there. If you don't want something on the internet, don't post it. There is nobody sitting next to you who is holding a gun to your head and saying, you haven't posted lately. You need to be telling people what's going on. Well, nobody is going to be doing that. If you want to share information with your friends, you can do that. In addition, you have settings on here. You can say, only my friends can see this. Now, that's not the default setting, but you can change that so you can say, only my friends can see what's going on. And again, if you don't want people to see what's going on, don't post it. TMI, too much information. This is one that's often used as an excuse for not wanting to be on Facebook. I don't really want to know what my friends had for breakfast. Well, I have over 800 friends on Facebook, and I have to tell you that I don't know what any of them had for breakfast this morning because my friends don't post that. In fact, most people don't post that kind of information. What they're putting up is birthday messages to their friends and family. They're putting up pictures about their vacation. They're just sharing information that's going on in their community and their lives. So if you're not interested in that, then maybe you shouldn't be on Facebook. And lastly, some people say, well, let the past stay in the past. I didn't really keep in touch with those people, and maybe 50 years is too long and I don't want to reconnect with them. And, I guess that's a valid point. But I have to tell you two little short stories. One is that on Facebook, I reconnected with an elementary school friend. And I had an opportunity to have lunch with she and her mother. And her mother died a few months after I had seen her. Now, I probably could have gone through life without having seen the mother, but it meant a lot to me. And I think that it made my life better by virtue of having had an opportunity to see her before she passed away. My daughter recently said to me that she was having lunch with a friend that she used to know from Connecticut, that she never had this girl's email address or phone number. They used to work together in Connecticut, but had lost touch, except on Facebook. Suddenly, has moved to Florida in the town next to us, and they're getting together and having lunch. Now, she wouldn't have kept in touch with her and would have lost sight of her. So really it was kind of nice to be able to have Facebook to do that connection. Okay, so let's talk about navigating Facebook, because one of the most important things in our session is I'm going to be referring to various words, various sections of the page, and I think it's important that you know what it is that I'm talking about. Now, the screenshots that I'm going to be using are looking at Facebook through a browser on a computer. You can view Facebook on your anything actually, on your iPhones, on your Droid phones, on your tablets. You can view it using apps as well as using a browser. But to see most of the screen, of course, you're going to need a larger screen than is visible on the apps. So all of the pictures that I take today are from a screen, a computer screen. So this middle section, you see where the black arrow is, that middle section just below where it says 100 computer tips and so forth, that area is called the news feed. And when you log on to Facebook, you go to facebook.com and you log into your account. This is the first screen that you're going to see, your news feed. And the things that are on your news feed are things that other people have posted. So if your friend Sam posts that he's on his way, he's on a cruise and he's on his way to Hawaii, that's going to be here. It's going to be part of what they call his status update. But it's all collectively called your news feed. On the left side of the screen, do you see below it says Sarah Mannion, and this particular screen is saying that we're signed in as somebody called Sarah Mannion. And underneath that, there are different links that you can see, newsfeed being the one that we're looking at right now. In addition to that, if this Sarah Mannion had any apps that she used, you would have access to it from there. And then below that, there's a friends section, and you actually have an opportunity to create lists of people, groups of people, and you put people on them. And one way of filtering your news feed is by clicking on those various friend groups, and then it will limit whose posts you see on your news feed. So right away, you don't have to be seeing everybody's posts. What you can be doing is segregating those people into lists so that it filters out what's going on. Now you'll notice that in the upper right side of your screen, it says privacy settings. This is only available to you when you log on as in a browser. So it's really important that if you're thinking about changing your privacy settings, that you go to a browser, any browser, and log in, and then you'd be able to click on that privacy settings, and we'll talk about that in a moment, what some of those settings might be. But when you click on that, it will show you things like who's seeing your stuff and the like. All the way over on the far right side of the screen in that gray area, that shows me who else is currently on. Everyone with a little green dot is telling me that they are actively on Facebook, and if I wanted to have a chat with them, I could click on their name and start a little chat. The value of a chat is that it's not visible to anyone. Unlike the news feed, if you post something on the news feed, if you post something on your page and your friends see it on their news feed, everybody sees it. But if you have an online chat with someone, that's a little section off to the side, like a little private room that we're having, and we can have a private chat. And if you're going to be exchanging any personal information, like your email address with someone or a telephone number, you would do it via an online chat. You'll see that at the bottom of that gray strip, it does say the word search. So you would be able to click in there, because not all of the 800 friends that somebody has is listed there, just a small group. And if you wanted to have a chat with somebody who was either offline or not in this list, you would click in that little search box at the bottom, type in their name, really just 4 or 5 characters in their name, and up would pop their name, and you'd click on it and you'd be having a little offline chat. Okay, across the top of your screen, it says a search box. And as it says, you can search for people, places, and things. So if you wanted to search for someone who wasn't a friend, or if you wanted to search to see if an organization that you wanted to be part of had a Facebook presence, you would be able to click in that box, type in whatever it is that you're looking for, and as you typed that information, it would pull down and it would be giving you some suggestions. Okay, so this is something that's really kind of important. The news feed that you see, Facebook has determined that you should be viewing what they have identified as top stories. There was a time when you would log on to Facebook and you would see in chronological order all of the updates, the news feeds, the status updates from all of your friends in chronological order. Well, apparently Facebook wants to modify that, has modified that. And what they're doing now is they're filtering it in such a way that you only see what they consider to be top stories. And typically top stories are updates from people that get reactions. So if you have a friend who posts lots of pictures of dogs and cats and babies, they probably get a lot of reaction to it, and so their posts are visible to you on your news feed. But people who post less frequently, you're probably never going to see their status updates. So one of the things that you can do to control your news feed is that you're able to then click on this little pull down arrow to the right of news feed, and you see how top stories is the selected choice. You would be able to choose most recent. Now what that does is it throws everybody into the pot. So you're going to be able to see everybody's updates in chronological order, just like the old days. Unfortunately, Facebook is really not keen on this. I have to think that it's, they're trying to get you engaged, and they feel that by having you only look at things that are particularly interesting to people, that the rest of that information should be dropped out. So it will only stay on most recent probably for about a week. And then you'll notice that suddenly you're missing out on those updates. And sure enough, you'll check this and it's defaulted back to top story. So Facebook is pretty tenacious about this thing, and they really want you on top stories, but you can control that. All right, so when you see a status update, when you see somebody putting up something about their trip or about a birthday or something else going on in their life, there are 3 things that you can do. I guess 4 maybe if you really think about doing nothing as an action. The first thing is that you can like it. Now, back in the day, that would be about up until the last 5 or 6 months, that being the day, you would be able to like a story. And that was the only thing that you could do, which was a little awkward sometimes. And if somebody is telling you that their dog passed away, you didn't particularly want to click on like, but there wasn't anything else that you could do. Now, at least, when you hover above like, when you move your mouse on the word like, or if you're on a iPad or a phone, you just hold your finger down on the word like, and up will pop now these 6 emotions that you can have. You can like it, you can love it, you can think it's funny, you can say wow, you can think something is sad, or you can indicate that something makes you mad. This is just in time for the current political season, and I have to tell you, people are really using the wide variety of these on their updates. It's really getting out of control. So you can like something or have one of the other emotions, or you can comment on something. And you can see that there is a comment button, or you could just click in the write a comment box, and you would then be writing a comment that other people would be able to see. So if you wanted to support your friend, or if you wanted to say, we were there last week and isn't it great? If you wanted to share name of a restaurant, well, somebody is there, that sort of thing, you would be able to do that. And then, of course, the last is share. People don't do this all that much, but when someone shares a post, that means that it goes onto their news feed as coming from them. And that's how things actually become viral, is that by clicking on share, that then goes and says that you are supporting it. Now, I like to do sharing. I have a tendency to do sharing probably more than other people, but when I find that somebody has a lost dog in an area that we used to live in, I will share that just to let other people know that it's going on. Or if somebody is in support of an organization, maybe that organization is having an event. By my sharing it, it then exposes my friends to that information, and they then might be interested in participating in that. So I like to share. All right. And then, of course, the last thing is that you could do nothing. So the other part of Facebook is something called your timeline. If somebody then clicked on your name, let's say a friend clicked on your name, this is what the friend would see. The timeline indicates everything that you have posted on Facebook since the beginning of time, since the beginning of your being on Facebook. So let's start at the top left, your profile picture. This does not mean that you need to put a picture of you on it. As you can see, this person, Sarah, has put a picture of her puppy on. People will put their picture of their sailboat. Not everybody puts a picture of themselves on. You can put anything that you want here. This picture, however, gets put into all of your posts, because you can see, if you look in the larger section of the screen, the little thumbnail of that very same profile picture. So every time you post something, that profile picture is used. Across the top of your screen in the larger area is something known as your cover picture. And your cover picture is, people use it much more to show a little bit of their personality. If you're a sailor, you have a sailing picture. As you can see, Sarah is a beach person, so she's got a beach picture. Again, you don't have to put in all of these things, but it's really easy to do. If you wanted to change your cover or your profile picture, you just move your mouse on either of these. A little camera would be indicated, and you would click on it and change it. The About section, just below the profile picture, the About section, you again have an opportunity to fill in information or not. Sarah has put in some information about herself, what school she goes to, where she lives, where she's from. You can put in all of that information, and the value of that is that it then makes it available to people who think that they might want to be your friend. If somebody was looking for people in an organization, let's say, they used to work for General Foods, and they wanted to find all of the people that say they work at General Foods or worked at General Foods, you'd be able to put in that search box General Foods, and it would help you find people. You can use that in combination with their names too to make a filter. But of course, you control whether or not this information is available. And then it shows who your friends are. So this is what a friend would see. Now, by default, uh, not only friends can see this, but by default, it's friends and friends of friends. And that gets a little dicey. That then kind of opens it up to the world, because can you imagine that if you, let's say you had 100 friends and each of those friends has 50 friends, well, suddenly it isn't just your 100 friends that are seeing it, but it's many times that 100 friends that are seeing or capable of seeing your information. So you might want to be careful about what you post, but again, we will see in just a moment that you can control that. All right, across just below Sarah's name, we have different tabs, and you would be able to click on these tabs, or anyone seeing your timeline would be able to click on these tabs. All right, so we're going to control your friends' posts. Now you might say, well, I didn't know that I could control my friends' posts. I thought I had to see everything. Well, especially in this time when we're doing, people are posting a lot of stuff about the election. It's getting old fast. You have an opportunity to unfriend people, but I wouldn't necessarily want to do that right off the bat. What I might do is I might unfriend them, but I might turn off the notifications on them. When I go to a friend's page, it shows me what kinds of friends we are. Do you see right here next to the number 2, it says that we are friends. This individual and I are friends. And so I have an option to get notifications about this friend. In other words, whenever this person puts something on, I definitely want to know about it. Recently, I am involved with an organization, and the only way they communicate is through Facebook. So in order to get those notifications, I have turned on Get Notifications to be sure that when they post, I actually get a little message that says they have posted. They could also be a friend, or they could be a close friend. Can you imagine that the word close friend, if I clicked on close friend, in that algorithm that Facebook uses to show the top stories, this person would be further up in that news feed. An acquaintance, of course, is somebody that, I probably don't really care one way or the other, so they'd be further down in the algorithm, and I wouldn't see all that many of their posts. And of course, I could suggest friends. You also see that on the screen below that number 2 in the pull down, it says add to another list. Remember when we had that opportunity in our original screen over on the left side, we could click on various list groups and it would filter. I would be able to click on add to another list, and I would be able to choose which list this person would be added to. And then lastly, it's unfriend. Unfriend is the worst that you can do. It's the most that you can do, I guess, perhaps is a better way of saying it. You can unfriend somebody. They don't get a notification that you've unfriended them, though they might figure it out, because once you unfriend somebody, it's not as if that they are restricted from friending you again. So you know how when you're on Facebook, if you're already on Facebook, they're always suggesting to you that maybe this one would be your friend and maybe this one. And sometimes you look and you say, I wonder why they're suggesting that person, because I thought I already was friends with that person. And that person then at that point would say, oh, I guess they must have unfriended me. All right, so the default is that that you are friends, but you may or may not see their updates. Just because you're friends, you may not see their updates. So in addition to being a friend, you can also control the following of them, whether or not you see their notifications. So under friends, we actually saw that get notifications. That's certainly the most aggressive. But relative to following, we can say that you want to see it first in your news feed, that this person is really very important. Or, and here's the alternative to not uh, not unfriending somebody. If you don't want to unfriend, but you don't want to see their updates, unfollow. Unfollow is really a great thing. And again, with all of these political messages that are coming out, some of your friends may be more political than others. And for the duration, I have unfollowed a few people. I'll wait and see after the election, I'll wait and see how it comes out and see whether or not I want to be friends with them again and follow their information. I misspoke. I still am going to be friends. I'm still friends with them, but I'm just unfollowing them. Okay, so relative to notifications, all the notifications are across the top of your screen. This blue strip in Facebook on the right side has a number of notifications. If you have some friend requests, whether you have asked to friend someone else or someone has an interest in friending you, you'll see that this notification turns white. And there's often a number that would be assigned to it, and that number would tell you how many notifications you have. So if you have any friend requests, you would click on this, and it would drop down, and it would show you all of your friend requests, and you have an opportunity to accept them or reject them. You're going to find that periodically you get friend requests from people that you absolutely do not know and do not want to be friends with. And that's okay, because you can reply to that, you can ignore it, or you can refuse it, and you can even then mark it as spam, because some of the people who are sending you friend requests clearly aren't in the country that you're in, have no connection to you, and you probably would not want to be their friend. There is the personal message. Remember before I told you about the personal chat messages that we had in the lower right side of your screen, and you could see who's online? Well, if you were offline and somebody sent you a message, you would see that this icon would then turn white, and it would tell you that you have unread messages. When you click on it, the little window pops up and shows you who all is sending you messages and what they're talking about. And then the last of these is the update notifications. So if you have commented or you have liked something, and other people continue to like things and leave messages and leave comments, you will get notifications that other people have commented. And you can see the type of notifications. You see Kelly Campbell also commented. That's because apparently I commented on Carol's, and so other people are commenting on it as well. This can be turned off because that can be very annoying. There is over on the right side, when you hover with your mouse, there's a little pull down arrow, and one of the options is that you can turn this off or you can unfollow that. Okay. There we go. That's what I was just talking about, that you can turn this off. Do you see that when you click on the globe, this is showing you all the people who are liking things, who are mentioning you in a comment. You can see the kinds of messages that we're getting. And if you don't want to get further messages like this, you can click on that X and you can turn off all of those messages. Especially this is true of birthday messages. You know, if somebody is really popular, you wrote a birthday message to them and now you're getting all 100 of them. So if you don't have Facebook, how do you sign up? and it's real easy, of course. They want to make it really easy for you. You go to facebook.com and you enter your name, your email address. You can only sign on with one email address. If you try logging on and having a different name, because some people actually have kind of aliases, you would need a different email address. Sign in with your password, put in your password, and put in your date of birth. It really is important that you put in your correct date of birth, or one that's verifiable, because I've had people who forget their password and it's been years since they signed on Facebook and they can't remember what date they put down for their birthday. So what the heck, put it down. You can actually hide your year. That's one of the personalizations that you can do in your settings. There's a little lock next to your year, your birth year. And if you click on that, it will hide your birth year, which is actually pretty good, because I see a lot of my friends don't know how to do that. And by default, your birth year is visible to everybody. So whenever you're having a birthday, it's so lovely that Facebook tells them exactly how old they are. Having a birthday coming up, don't want everybody to know. So there you go. And then as soon as you fill this in and click on sign up, you will get an email. You'll have to go to your email and click on the confirmation link, and you're on. So it's that difficult to get onto Facebook. They really want to make it easy for you. So let's talk about your privacy settings, because this is really probably one of the most important things that you can do. Again, the screen that I'm showing you is from a browser. I want you to know how to get on using a browser, as well as your phone or your tablet. If that's all you have, don't use the app to do it. Go in through a browser, go in through your Safari, go in through your Google Chrome, and put in facebook.com, because it's only through those methods will you be able to change some of these settings. So you can see that across the upper right side, again, we were looking at this just a moment ago, that blue strip across the top of your screen on the right side, it has a lock on it. Now, normally, this is very hard to see because it's kind of a dark blue on a dark blue, so it doesn't have a lot of contrast to it. But when you click on it, it says things like, who can see my stuff, who can contact me, how do I stop someone from bothering me, and more importantly, see more settings. So when you click on who can see my stuff, you really want it set to just friends, not friends of friends. If you really want to be personal about this, set it so that it's just friends. Who can see your posts? Just friends. And then when you get down into the more settings, one of the important things, I think, important settings is notifications is over on the left side. And it will say, what kind of notifications do you get? Because Facebook probably is the biggest culprit in filling up your mailbox, your email box with information. Sorry, just needed a sip. With email messages. Oh, please, Facebook, you got a life. And you don't want to know every time somebody breathes. So the thing that you want to do is turn off your email notifications except for important things. So right now, the only thing I ever hear about from Facebook is if I've signed on to a different computer from a different network, or if there's a problem with my account. And that's all you really need to hear about from Facebook. So when you go down to the more settings feature that we just saw a moment ago, this is where you can go in and you can change everything. You can see on the left side of the screen all of these categories: general, security, privacy, the notifications. That's what I was talking about just a moment ago. Click on notifications and you'll be able to go in there and say what they can notify you about. Payments you won't worry about because you won't be spending money, I hope, on Facebook. But if you play some games, watch out, they can get very expensive. So in order to change all of these, you click on the edit all the way over on the right side. And when you click on edit, each of these is going to have some more responses. Now, for me, you can see who can send you friend requests. I say everybody. In fact, I'd like y'all to be my friend. At the end of the session, I'll tell you what my screen name is if you haven't figured it out. And if you'd like to be a friend, I would love to have you. In addition to basic things that I post, I also post a lot of computer-related things. So you might find it interesting to be my friend. All right, Facebook etiquette. So when you send out, when you click on add as a friend, and Facebook is going to suggest a lot of people, some of whom you're going to say, I never want to be a friend with this person, then don't invite them to be a friend. And don't forget that not everybody's going to respond to your friend request. My husband has a Facebook account, and I think he has 0 friends because he just opened up an account, I think accidentally, and has not added any friends. If people are really sensitive that he hasn't added them as a friend yet, they need to get a life. He's okay with that. Don't friend someone unless you want them to view your posts. It's that privacy thing again. You know, if you don't want to friend your mother-in-law because you're going to be saying some things about her, don't friend her. And friends are not a popularity score. And keep in mind, you can only have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I know, it's a problem. It's a limitation, isn't it? So you want to be careful when you're putting in those friend requests. You can only have 5,000. Photos and tagging. People can actually tag you in a picture. They can bring up a picture that their friend or they have posted, and by clicking on the picture or clicking on tagging, you can then click on people and identify who they are by clicking on their names. And I have to tell you that Facebook is really great about this, that when you click on someone's name, it's saying, hey, is that good old Nicholas? Or perhaps actually this person started typing in NI, and so all of the NI people came up. But Facebook is really good at suggesting that maybe that's Jeannie, maybe that's Linda. And so you can tag people. When you are tagged, that means that that picture goes on your news feed and your timeline because you have been identified in it. So don't tag photos that could get people in trouble. If somebody's having an affair and you post their picture and then you tag them, maybe that's not such a good thing to do. And don't tag people in unflattering photos. If this is a picture of a teacher perhaps or a public official and they've got a drink and maybe they look like they're a little loopy, maybe that's an opportunity for you to not tag them. Okay, so a lot of people ask questions in these sessions, and there's one frequent question, which is, what if I want to edit or delete something I wrote? You know, you realize that you were mistaken and you didn't mean to write the things that you wanted to. You can always edit a post. You find the post, go to your timeline. You find the post on your timeline. You can see where this hand is in the screenshot. You click on that. That's a little down-facing triangle. And you can see that you can edit the post, change the location, change the date. And lastly, you can delete it. So if you really said something inappropriate, maybe there was what they call drunk posting. I don't know. I've never drunk post. But if there is something that you wrote that maybe the next morning you're thinking, man, what made me think that that was a good thing to put up, you'd be able to delete it. Who can see what you've posted? Well, you get to choose that. In addition, there is an opportunity when you write on your status update. When you put something in here, you actually get to choose who all would be viewing it. You can see public, friends, and then authors is actually one of my lists. So I could say that only people in a particular list could see what I wrote. So a lot of people use that as a filter. Most of the time, this will be set on friends. So just your friends. But if this was a lost puppy in your neighborhood, you might want to say for that one, the public. And then when somebody shares that, that would be visible to all of their friends. If you said only your friends can see it and somebody shared it, that couldn't go beyond your friends, the friends that you have in common. Okay. And can you customize it? And yes, that's what we were just talking about. You choose the audience before you post, and you have an opportunity to limit that audience. Okay. Is there a difference between liking a friend's post and liking a page? Absolutely. When you like a friend's post, that's this picture in the upper right side. When you like somebody's post, you're actually kind of saying, I support that person. I support what you've written. I like it. Or as we know, there are 6 emotions that you can have. So you can like a post, but a business or an organization, you like their page. So you see the Nokomis drum circle. If you like their page, then you will get updates when that page has been updated. You will get their notifications. I thought this was an interesting graphic. It's been determined by Facebook, and of course they know, because they know who friends are of friends, that between you and me, there's 3.5 degrees of separation. You know how there used to be, is it 6 degrees of separation between everybody and Kevin Bacon? Well, this is 3.5 degrees of separation between you and anyone else on Facebook, which is kind of interesting and maybe even scary. There it is, the average degree of separation. Okay, so Facebook friend or foe, should you be on Facebook? Well, there's 1.65 billion people who visit Facebook every month, with almost 67% of those people checking it daily. Only you control who sees what you post, and certainly you control what you post. So why not be on Facebook? You can be like one of, I think out of my 800 friends, probably 750 are lurkers, where all they do is sit and check out what's going on, and they never post anything. You control what appears in your news feed. You control your friends. If they're saying things, wonky things that you don't want to be looking at, maybe they're going through an ugly divorce and they're saying ugly things, that's okay. You can unfollow them for a little while. But why not have a Facebook account? It doesn't cost anything, and you might actually enjoy it. Oh man, 144. Oof, they gave me 45 minutes and I still have a minute left. So will you be my friend? My personal name is Diane Korchan McKeever, and you could friend me, or my business page is Diane McKeever LLC. If you like my business page, Diane McKeever LLC, you will be getting those updates whenever I post something about computers, and I do that on a fairly regular basis, so you might be interested in that. All right, John, do I hear you there?
You hear me? Yes, thank you. Quick question on the list of people, you know, friends of friends and stuff. There was a pop-up that said there are somebody that's called an author.
An author. That was the person, oh, the author of the post.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the person who wrote the post. Because a number of people might be tagged in a post, but that would be the author of it.
Okay. Another question. When you go and delete a post that you made,
yes,
what happens to all the people's postings that commented on your post and commented on their post of your post?
Well, all of the comments that appeared on your post disappear as well. If that post had been shared, of course, it's out there now, and you can't pull it back from the internet.
Okay, that's a good thing to know, because if you think you can delete something, it depends on how you put it up there in the beginning.
Well, but you shouldn't be putting anything up that is really important that you delete, unless you're again doing that drunk posting.
Yeah, people know that. What's your advice for somebody who got into Facebook when it first came out, and everybody back then was just friend happy? Click, 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 and built up this big, huge list of friends, and now it's kind of making their Facebook overwhelming. Now, you said you can go and unfriend, but I heard from somebody who did that and then got pestered by that person. You know, why did you unfriend me? What did I do wrong? Blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah. Oh.
And then you said that you could unfollow.
Right.
Now, unfollowing kind of cleans up your main page, but you still have them in your list of everything.
Right.
Is there any way that someone could say, I want to start over?
A do-over.
Yeah.
A do-over on these friends. Well, of course, you know, you could open up another email account and start a whole new you if you wanted. And it is possible to go into your account settings and delete your current account. It is possible to do that. You have an opportunity once you delete your account, once you tell them that you want to delete your account, it usually lasts for another week or month. That you could go back and undelete it if you wanted. But, you know, you could easily set up a bogus Gmail account, because, you know, Gmail accounts are free, and you could set up a second email account, not one that you ever really check the email on, because it doesn't matter that you see their updates from Facebook, but you can go in there. There are many people who actually have secondary accounts because maybe they're a teacher, and one of our friends is a high school teacher, and she doesn't want her high school kids searching for her, so she has a secondary account that her real friends know about.
That's good. I had somebody who was using a fictitious name and then wondered why none of her friends could find her.
Right.
Another question came through. What kinds of posts should you not share? For example, spreading the word about scams.
Well, just like in emails, if you're going to spread, here's a classic that comes out every year at Christmas time. There is a post that gets spread around like wildfire, and it's about the amount of money that Goodwill president is paid, and the American Red Cross president, and blah, blah, blah. And then it gets down to, these are the organizations you should support, and it sounds like veterans organizations. So that gets spread like wildfire. And the ironic thing about it is that, firstly, all of the information is out of date and inaccurate, and that the organizations that it's telling you to support are way worse than the organizations that are being pinpointed. So I think it's really important, before you were to share anything like that, just go to Snopes or any of the other places online that do accuracy testing, and make sure that what you're spreading is true.
Good suggestion. Just because somebody that you trust sends something, maybe they're just passing it on.
Yep. I can't tell you the number of times I will then respond at the bottom and say, according to, and mention where I found this information is absolutely wrong. You should not take this as gospel.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Diane, for a terrific presentation. I've learned some things about it, and I think it's going to become a little bit more of a friend than a foe. I just need to, you know, trim things down so I can do the organizations and, you know, family to keep tabs on.
Well, that whole list is kind of a secret. Most people don't know about it. So if you want more information on it, go to any search engine and put in Facebook lists, and it will tell you exactly how to set them up and how to add people. And I think you'll find that it's a much better experience for you.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank you. I will let people know that we will leave this chat going for a few minutes while we switch groups. And if you have other questions, we'll get them to Diane, and she can answer those and send them back.
Good. Well, thank you. And I hope I got some more friends as a result of this, or at least people who have liked my business page.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
We'll be back.